So our next guest is Dr. Farhan Taghizadeh, and he is a board-certified ENT facial plastic and reconstructive surgeon from Arizona. And we were just at the faculty dinner together catching up.
We were.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
All right,
good to see you again. Thank you for having me.
No, it's really wonderful. And we've done a lot of the regenerative medicine symposiums and talks together.
Yes.
And what is most interesting to you in that field?
You know, right now I think there's two initiatives that really fascinate me. One is the interspace between regenerative therapies and cryotherapy. So we've really done a lot of work with cryo skin therapy this year, and we think it's a really sort of a new frontier, not only in reducing inflammation, but also potentially in activating regenerative properties of cells from the skin all the way into the deep joint tissue. So I think that the work that several companies have done with cryotherapy is significant this year. So I think that's a big trend.
Yeah.
The second trend that I think is really important is integrity. And
very important,
and
right?
I'm actually going to be speaking on that here in a few minutes, but we need to be honest with our patients about what is a stem cell and what isn't a stem cell. And I'm really more cautious in what I say, but I think...
I'm so happy that you're speaking about that, because this is also one of my big frustrations, because people know that I do regenerative medicine in my practice, and they're like, well, I saw this advertised that they have stem cells, and then I realize it's not true stem cells. So I think we have the opportunity to educate the general public, and then again our duty, like you said, to be truthful.
Right. I mean, this is absolutely correct. In our market, every day on television, there are people touting stem cell therapies, and when you actually stem cell products, and they're not. They're growth factor products. They're regenerative medical products. The LA Times ran an article this week, which I think was very poignant, about people doing stem cell therapies offshore.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is that the complications and the downside of that are not tracked. So I think integrity and really using the great regenerative products that are out here, but labeling them correctly and using them correctly. So that's the second point that we're really focused on this year. And then the final thing that I've been really interested in is 2 months ago, the FDA put out one of its first position papers on artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact our whole industry.
Well, yes, I mean, we own a Tesla, so we understand. AI.
AI. So I'm involved with two initiatives that really interspace with that, but there's a huge connection between what AI is going to do in our space and ultimately what we're going to be able to do in the field of regenerative medicine. So
this is so cool.
Yeah, it's just incredible. But one of the initiatives that's coming up is using artificial intelligence algorithms to monitor patients almost in perpetuity after our treatments. And that's coming up.
That's important.
Yeah,
that's important.
And there's one initiative, especially in Silicon Valley, and actually one person at the show here, it is her business to do that, and she's very passionate about it. So I've been really excited to hear about her work. And then, several weeks ago was the SRS, the Society for Robotic Surgery in Orlando. And while we have some people interested in robotics here, but the session on AI and robotics interspaced with aesthetics. And in fact, the very first lectures on aesthetic robots were given at SRS this year.
Really?
And it was fascinating to see the response from just a few years ago to this year in terms of how much artificial intelligence and robotics are beginning to creep into our industry. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are very, very incredible things, and hopefully in the future for the aesthetic show, we'll hear more about it.
Absolutely.
Right? And we'll rely on you to kind of update us and maybe invite some of your colleagues from those other organizations to come in and educate us.
Absolutely. I think our industry is going to go through really significant changes as the FDA position on artificial intelligence pokes into everything from our tracking of patients through our electronic medical record systems, our EMR systems, all the way down to continuous monitoring, and then through the field of automation or semi-automation of our devices and of our our dream that one day these procedures can be ubiquitous and relatively available to anybody who wants them.
Correct.
Because we're still.
There's still a difference.
Still too much.
Totally.
Too much, yeah.
So what are you doing in your clinic, like the practical side of things that you're most excited about?
It's vertical integration of different devices. So what we're doing now is we're not just selling a machine, we're selling outcomes-focused packages to patients.
I love that.
You love that.
Yes.
And I know you've done that for many
Yes,
years. You're like
yes.
one of my mentors in that.
Really? Thank
Absolutely.
you.
I've always enjoyed your lectures on that. And I think it's no longer just doing therapies, it's understanding over a 12-month period what the impact of those therapies are in the people's lives. So I'll give you one example.
Yes.
It's 110 degrees outside right now. And over the years, I just didn't have patients showing up for lasers because they know that heat-based therapies, when you're out in the sun, when you're doing all these doesn't make any sense. So what we did was we shifted our laser packages to strictly going to cryotherapy during the summer months in Arizona. And it's been an incredible paradigm shift because the patients are staying on their programs.
Right.
We're getting the similar outcomes, but they're really committed to the continuity of care rather than us lasering them going outside.
Right, and then you get better results.
Exactly.
You get less complications,
Right.
and it's overall better for the patients and the
Exactly.
practice.
Absolutely.
Right, and
Absolutely.
so I think looking at it that way, because sometimes with our medical training,
Right.
we get so laser focused on
Right.
what we're supposed to do, what we're taught to do, and how we were trained, that we
Right.
can't see the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
And so I think looking at the bigger picture and looking at the end result, which for us, we went into medicine to improve our patients' overall quality of life.
Right.
That is the end goal. And all these, now we have so many tools,
Right.
to help them get there. And I think when we have more and more doctors who are thinking this way, more of a global,
Right.
outcome-focused approach, as opposed to, okay, we're gonna plug this laser device, specific laser device, because this is what we happen to have bought, or
Right.
we were trained when we were in residency.
That's right.
I think we're gonna be much better doctors, and we'll have better outcomes for patients.
Absolutely, like how do injectables fit in with our devices and how do these things work together? I think we're getting towards the singularity of understanding the interspace between all these technologies. And again, you've been such a leader. I just want to give you a shout out.
Thank you.
Really, you've been a leader in this industry in teaching us how to vertically integrate various technologies into packages. And because of your work and other individuals like yourself, it's actually transformed into our EMR systems and our patient contact systems, where now these systems are allowing us to create programs as opposed to just treatments. And I have a wonderful coordinator in my clinic who's using this software to do that, and it's really because of individuals like yourself and the leadership you've taken, seriously, to train us on vertical integration, that we're all able to do this today. So I thank you for your work, really.
Well, Farhan, thank you so much for your friendship to the aesthetic show, and this is why we're here.
Right.
Really, we all have our own expertise and perspectives, and when we all come together and we share it with each other, we really take the whole field forward, in leaps. And then again, all of our patients benefit, and so that's really why we're here.
And to the point of the aesthetics show, I could just say one more thing, honestly. It is one of the best shows to learn about really the leading edge of technology in our space. and the freedom that they give us to talk
agree.
about these in these forums. I think when people 30, 40 years down the road look back, this show and these videos and this content will be very significant in terms of, in terms of a free forum to discuss these ideas.
Yeah, and
So
we'll
thank
still
you.
look really good 30, 40 years ago, right?
You will. I don't know about me, but I know you will, Cindy. Thank you so much.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Take care. Thank you for having me.